I usually do these pregnancy updates while folding laundry. And I realized just before sitting down to film this that the laundry that was in the dryer wasn't actually dry yet. So I don't have any laundry to fold, and it feels almost kind of odd. I feel like I need to be doing something with my hands. I guess we'll just sit and have a casual chat today. Today's video is going to be all about my pregnancy with baby number 3. I am currently 28 weeks, almost 29 weeks. A recap for anyone who is new here, this is my 3rd baby. I am due July 11th with this one, which is only 2 days after my firstborn's 4th birthday. We might have 3 and under for a little while. We'll see when this baby decides to be born. Things you should probably know: I was diagnosed with placenta previa at 20 weeks. I have lots of videos about that, about my experience, what happened, what's going on. If you want a recap on that, I can leave my playlist of these updates linked down below, as well as other various vlogs where I talked about it. Throughout this pregnancy, I've been filming some pretty casual sit-down updates every month or so. So that is what we're doing today. I'm also going to be answering some questions because I feel like there's not a ton to update you on this time. I've been kind of updating casually through vlogs. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about stuff because I feel like I've already talked it to death, but I went to Instagram and asked you to ask me questions, and you guys came through with a lot of them. So it's going to be a bit of a update slash Q&A style video. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a snack, and let's sit down and let's chat. Alright, so first things first, I am 28 weeks, almost 29 weeks. Baby is about 2.5 pounds at this point and weighs 15.2 inches. According to my Pregnancy Plus app, this is about what baby looks like right now. It says your baby's brain is now in charge of maintaining body temperature and also controls breathing. Your baby's eyes can now respond to light. All the internal organs are maturing and preparing to function on their own at birth. You may even feel your baby cough. Your baby's skin is beginning to look less wrinkly and more like it will look at birth. Your baby's head is much more proportionate to the rest of the body, and your baby is bursting with energy at this point, and you'll be feeling every bit of it, and that is very true. I've been feeling a lot of kicks, a lot of movement, especially yesterday. My goodness, the baby woke me up at literally 4:30 in the morning. I could not fall back asleep because there was just so much movement, and I love that, but also love my sleep. And all day baby was just so active. So to start off this video, we're gonna go back a couple of weeks to my 26-week prenatal. Give you a little update on how that went. The baby's heartbeat was 148 beats per minute, which I think is very average for my babies. I think all of my babies have had very similar heart rates, and baby was not head down yet, which is fine. Like, there's still 3 months for baby to move head down, and it's not like they're looking for that yet. It was just something that she noted. My doctor is so confident that the placenta should move out of the way, that it shouldn't be an issue, that I should be able to give birth naturally and normally as I have in the past. Praying that that is true, that it moves. I do have an ultrasound booked for the end of May where they will check to make sure everything is in fact good to go. I did ask my doctor about the belly button. So I mentioned in my last update that I think I might possibly have an umbilical hernia because my belly button is doing this weird thing where it's like half outie, half innie. Like the inside of it is an outie, but it still goes in. It's weird. It's kind of cute though. I kind of like it. A few of you had mentioned that it might be an umbilical hernia. So I did talk to my doctor about that. And she looked at it and she said it's hard to tell now. We won't be able to really tell until after the baby is born. And at that point, we'll assess this and see what it is. And if it is, in fact, an umbilical hernia, they probably won't do anything about it until after I'm officially done having babies. My next prenatal is May 3rd, which is coming up real fast. And then after that, my appointments go from being every month to every 2 weeks. We're already at the stage where my appointments are every 2 weeks. That just boggles my mind. How are we that far in this pregnancy already? I don't know. Like, a lot of you have been saying it's been flying by for you, but it's probably not flying by for me. It's flying for me. It is going by so fast. All right, now as far as how I'm feeling and symptoms, rad ligament pain has been intense the last few weeks or so. There was one day, if you watched the vlog, you probably know I had really intense round ligament pain all in one side, and every time the baby moved or kicked, especially in that area, it just sent such a shooting pain through my stomach and it hurts so bad. I thought the round ligament pain was starting to taper off, but I've been finding it's been coming back more frequently as of late. Any sudden movement, any coughing, sneezing, laughing, getting up, chasing after my kids, like anything hurts so bad. I'm definitely thinking in this last trimester it would be very beneficial for me to book chiro appointments and go regularly leading up to birth. That's probably a really good idea, but also to help relieve the round ligament pain. Oh, by the way, things that have helped me with round ligament pain is first of all letting the belly just hang and stretch. Heat, I tried a warm bath, that did not help, but I tried applying a little bit of heat for like 5 minutes with like a heat pack on that area, and then a good night's rest is really just the only thing that helps. Lightning crotch is kicking up to full force. Not every day, but a lot of days, especially, I mean, it depends where baby is and how baby is positioned and where baby is kicking. But for example, yesterday when baby was kicking so much, I just kept getting punch after punch after punch down there, and it just sends such a sharp shooting pain to that area. But surprisingly, I have not felt much of an urge to pee. I felt that more so in like the first half of this pregnancy, and then suddenly baby kind of shifted more outward and I felt a relief off of my bladder and off of my lungs, and I could breathe again. That's another thing. I have been able to breathe and it feels so good. I can take in a full breath and it's just the best feeling in the world. I don't constantly feel like I'm struggling for air, which is another fantastic feeling. Baby has really shifted more outward and it looks like my belly has dropped. Like my belly shape, I think, from what I can tell, has just really changed so much. I was carrying very round and high like I did with my daughter in my first pregnancy, but now the baby has shifted, my belly is looking a lot more like it did with my son, and I carried him very low and more outward. So now that baby has shifted, my whole belly shape has shifted. And I'm so happy because it's a lot more comfortable for me to carry my babies further out so there's less squishing happening in here. I've been naturally waking up earlier and earlier. I generally have pretty good night sleeps and I've been naturally waking up earlier, which I don't mind. I feel like I've got enough energy throughout the day. I just love the mornings. I love waking up earlier. Especially now that it's spring, the sun is rising sooner. Like it just makes me so happy to get up earlier, and for my body to naturally do that is really nice. I have no cravings, I have no food aversions. The eye twitching has returned. That is something I had a lot in the first half of this pregnancy. Kind of went away. It has returned. It's still in the same spot of the same eye. You know what? Now that I think about it, the eye twitching now is probably a result of stress because we've been so crazy busy the last few weeks, and it's a good busy. Like a lot of exciting things are happening, such as my merch, which by now you should know about. This is not, I wasn't planning on like plugging this in here, but if you didn't know, I launched merch this week. I guess by the time you see this video, it's not a secret anymore. I launched merch. You can see the link in the description box below, but that's besides the point. As usual, I still have increased cervical mucus. I have that in all my pregnancies throughout the entire pregnancy, and it's been really pretty intense lately. Runny, stuffy nose, still a thing. Getting super, super tired of not being able to breathe out of my nose. The varicose veins are spreading and growing. So if you're new here and you don't know this already, I have really lovely, intense varicose veins on my lady parts. All over in the general area, going to my butt, going down my legs, and they are really starting to spread. They're not intense on my legs yet or anything, but the ones that were existing in my other pregnancy, which were on my lady parts, are getting really big and sore, and it hurts. And there's a lot of pressure down there. I notice especially like when I get up out of bed in the morning and stand up and walk to the bathroom. Really intense when I sit on the toilet, especially when I'm trying to go to the bathroom. That's when they're really, really intense. And now that this is my third pregnancy, they are starting to spread more down my legs. It's just the beginning so far, so I don't know how bad they're gonna get. I don't anticipate them to get too bad this pregnancy, but with following pregnancies, I wonder I wonder how bad it's gonna get. Kicks, as I was saying, are getting pretty intense. They're not as easy to catch on camera because baby has gotten a little camera shy. And they're the kind of kicks now that aren't quite as visible on camera. Like, they're super visible to me because I'm both seeing them and feeling them. But it's mostly like I can feel a butt right here poking out, or I can feel heels or hands or limbs or something kind of like going across my belly, and it's cool because I can like feel from the outside. It's almost like I can just grab that little heel. It's really cool because I can really feel the baby. We're at the point now where I can feel kicks at the very top of my belly and all the way down on my bladder at the exact same time. So the baby's really growing and taking up a lot of space in there. I am noticing some days that my pelvis is starting to hurt on a small level. It's nothing like debilitating or like causing me to not be able to do what I normally do. But as the pregnancy progresses, my body's starting to prepare for birth and it's starting to open up a little bit, and it's gonna cause a little bit of pain, especially with the pressure of the baby. Mostly just by the end of the day, it kind of feels like my entire bottom half is falling apart. Not just because of the pelvic pain, but all kinds of aches and pains. But other than that, I'm feeling so good. Like, I feel physically limited. I can't do everything I used to do physically, and also because I get tired easier. But I feel so good. This is probably the best I have felt in my entire pregnancy, despite aches and pains. Like, I feel awesome and I'm so thankful. That's kind of it for my update part. I'm gonna get up and do a little belly shot for you. But then I'm gonna answer some of your questions as well. I'm gonna try and awkwardly do this on the bed. Let's turn the mic. You can maybe hear me a little bit better. Okay, so here I am, 28 weeks. Oh, taking note, this is not a comfortable position for the pelvis and varicose veins. So here we are. Doesn't it look like the belly has kind of dropped? Like, especially if you go back and compare the belly now to what it was last month in the last update. This is the belly button situation, and here it is on this side. I feel like here you can really tell like the belly just looks really low and heavy almost. But I'm very thankful that I really don't have much for, I really don't have much for back pain or pain in general. Like, any pain that I do feel is generally pretty minor, aside from the round ligament pain some days. I don't know, I'm feeling good and I'm excited for this baby to be born, but I'm also so happy to just be here in the moment, feeling this baby in my womb. To avoid this video getting too long, I'm gonna try and power through these questions as fast as I can. After a quick breather break, are you going to find out the gender? If not, why? If you haven't been following along closely, you might not know, and I get this question so often, but we are not finding out the gender. We have decided not to, just because we've got a boy, we've got a girl. Whatever happens next happens next. Like, we're excited for either gender, and we really honestly don't want to know. We want to keep it a surprise. Do you have any gut feelings about what the baby's gender will be? I think so. I think so. I'm gonna keep that to myself though, because I don't want to say and then be wrong. I mean, not that I'm afraid to be wrong, but I don't know. I have a bit of a feeling, and I have been right with my other children. My gut feeling was always right, but we'll see. Do you have names decided on yet? Yes, we have officially decided on baby names, and we are in love with them, or at least I am. I'm still like, Zach's still trying to become convinced on the girl name, but the boy name we are for sure set on. Sorry, I'm having a foot cramp. Come on. Ooh. Name hint? Do I give you a name hint? I'll give you one hint, and I'm gonna be super vague because I don't want anyone to know or to guess. But for one of the names, boy or girl, I won't say which, I actually got the idea from one of you who mentioned it on one of my posts on Instagram, and I've only ever seen the name appear once. And before then, I had never heard of it. So see if you can go back and find the name. Does hubby get paternity leave? No, and that's because he's not really working right now. Like, he's working on his own business. He's working from home. He's helping me with my business, YouTube, all that stuff. But he's not working at like a steady paying job anymore. He's doing his own thing from home. So we don't get any money from the government in that way. Are you afraid that this labor will be even faster than your other two? And how are you preparing? I am afraid of it and I'm not. See, with my first one, that was such a shocker. That took us completely by surprise. It was 2.5 hours long and it was my first child. So that took us completely by surprise. Our next one, Theo, was an hour and a half. An hour and a half labor and he was born. With my son, I was already dilated to like, I don't know, 4 or 5 centimeters for a long time before I went into labor. So I think my body was doing a lot of preparing leading up to the big moment, which helped things go really, really fast. So it depends what happens at the end of this pregnancy. Really don't know what to expect. I know it's probably gonna be fast, but how fast? I'm not sure. I'm just hoping it's not faster than Theo's birth was. But what I do know is that as soon as my water breaks, that's when things go fast. We'll see what happens. How am I preparing? I mean, I haven't really done anything yet. There are some things I'm researching and trying to figure out and get ready to start preparing my body with before birth, and I might make a video on this later. But after my son, I hemorrhaged. So I'm trying to avoid that if at all possible. I'm also just trying to get my body very ready for an easy, hopefully natural birth. In the last month or so of pregnancy, I'll probably start taking evening primrose oil. I did this with both my babies and I would take one orally and then I'd also poke a hole in one and stick it up there before bed every night. And I think that has really helped my labors to go the way they have gone. Probably start drinking some red raspberry leaf tea. I'm gonna have my bag packed and ready to go a month before the due date. I'm gonna have like a garbage bag and a towel on the passenger seat of the van, as well as birthing supplies, and Zach and I are going to do some research on birth if we have to do it on our own. Praying it does not come to that, but we do need to educate ourselves a bit more. So things like towels and blankets and just things like that for an emergency situation. We need to get childcare lined up for the kids, especially with COVID. Like, I don't know how often Zach will be able to come and go from the hospital, so we might need a childcare for several days, which will be one of our parents. We gotta notify our neighbors so that when I go into labor, they can run over here and we can run out. With Theo, had we not run out after my first contraction, we might not have made it to the hospital. So we need someone who is like on call and ready and really close. Will you be having a home birth with how quick your previous 2 labors were? I do not plan on having a home birth. Getting a midwife is next to impossible where I live. And I'm very fortunate to have a doctor who I really love. I also get to give birth in a new hospital this time, which I'm kind of excited about. So no, we are not having a home birth. I would have liked a home birth. Unfortunately, because we can't get a midwife, it's just not an option for us. Do you have a birth plan, epidural or no epidural? No epidural. That is the plan. That's how I've birthed both my other babies. There was no time for an epidural with my other babies, and I assume the same will happen this time. I mean, who knows? This birth could be completely different. There is no way to know, and every birth is so different. But my birth plan in an ideal world would be to go into labor naturally, make it to the hospital on time, no epidural, as few people in the room as possible. I would ideally love a birth photographer this time. I really want a birth photographer, but Zach is against that and COVID probably won't allow that. This might sound weird to anyone who hasn't given birth before, but I would love to be able to reach down and feel the head as it's coming out. This was offered to me in my first birth. My doctor asked, and I was in so much pain at that point. I was like, no, I am pushing as hard as I can. I'm gonna get this baby out as fast as I can. And then in the second birth, I don't know, I just didn't even think about it. But this time, I want to force myself to do it because I think it would be the coolest feeling ever. I also would love a mirror. so I want to see what's going on. I know some people don't want to see, but I want to see. I think it's crazy cool. So I would love a mirror. I did have a mirror last time, but they didn't have time to set it up. It would be the coolest thing if I could pull the baby out myself, like catch my own baby, but I don't know if that's allowed or possible, or if I'd even be in the right headspace in that moment to do so. Ideally, delayed cord clamping, breastfeeding as soon as possible, lots of skin to skin. I mean, I don't really have much of a plan because my births in the past have been so fast that we haven't had time to do really anything. We haven't had time for music or low lighting or any of the like essential oils or mood settings. We've never had time for that. I would love a water birth, but again, it's just really not a possibility for me without a midwife. Are you less apprehensive about delivery since it's your third, or the same as your first and third? I feel like it's too early for me to answer that question. Even though we're in the home stretch, it hasn't really hit me that this baby needs to come out and like I'm gonna be physically pushing a human out of my body again. So the realities of birth haven't really set in and probably won't until the last month. So ask me then and I'll probably have a different answer for you, but I'm not feeling nervous at all. I'm looking forward to it at this point. With my first, I had no idea what to expect, and so I was mostly just looking forward to it. Second time, I was mildly traumatized by my first birth. Not that it was a terrible experience or anything, it was amazing, but the pain was really intense. Knowing what to expect the second time, you'd think it would bring me some ease and comfort. It made it worse. At this point, I'm just excited. How's the nursery coming? It's coming. Slowly. We are working on it. We just installed a door yesterday and we're starting to get the trim up around the door, and then we got to do the baseboards, and then we got to do shiplap on the ceilings, which will hopefully happen soon, and then after that we can start kind of putting things together. We've got most of the furniture. I still want to get a nicer rocking chair. I've been trying to thrift one and I cannot find one, but we have most of everything we need. It's just a matter of arranging it and putting it together. How do you feel about the newborn stage now that you have 2 older children? Honestly, I'm kind of nervous. I've never felt so nervous about the newborn stage. The first time, again, I didn't know what to expect. Theo was born 22 months apart from Eloise, so Eloise was still pretty little. I was still kind of in that mindset, and I was just really looking forward to it, and it was amazing. This time, now that I have children who are almost 2 and 4, I'm nervous about going back to that newborn stage again because it feels like it's been so long. It hasn't been that long. It really hasn't. I only stopped breastfeeding Theo like 4 months ago. 3 months ago. It hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been so long, and I'm re-watching old videos of when the kids were little and watching videos of other YouTubers with newborns. All of those memories are starting to flood back and I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous about all of the learning a new child's personality all over again. A new breastfeeding journey that'll be totally different, and a new sleeping journey that'll be totally different, and just all the things that come with newborns. I'm exhausted just thinking about it, but I'm also so excited. That's gonna be everything for today's video. I really hope it wasn't too long. I'm gonna try and cut it as much as possible, but I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for sticking around and watching, and if you want to be the first to know when this baby is born, you better follow me over on Instagram because that's where I will be sharing the news first. I mean, I know it's still a few months away, but anything can happen. I mean, I'm almost at 30 weeks here. Like, it's not far away. Thank you all for your love and support. It means the world to me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.